A Tale of Two Westie Rescues by Paul Dimmock, narrated by Dawn Ostrom. Dedicated to Jerry and Ralph, much loved and much missed. Jerry the Puppy Mill Stud. I went to pick Jerry up in a small rural community in southwestern Ontario. He was in a backyard and 5 small children were trying to get him to play. He kept walking away from them, and he wasn't very steady on his legs. When I approached him, he cowered and backed away. A Westie should be white with black accents. He was mostly yellow and brown. The day before, he had been taken from a puppy mill. He had been the stud dog. He had lived his approximate 10 years in a cage in a barn. He had never seen daylight or walked on grass. His skin was crawling with fleas and lice. His teeth were black. His left eye had a corneal ulceration and was badly infected, oozing with pus. The vet said that he might lose the eye. It took about 6 weeks to stabilize his medical conditions. The day after I picked up Jerry, I took him to the vet. In the 45 minutes we were there, he peed 3 times. I was embarrassed. I thought he was slow. He had so many medical problems. I didn't think anyone would want to adopt him. I thought we were stuck with him, and I wasn't happy about that. After a few days of quarantine in the shed, we brought Jerry in the house and introduced him to Pearl. She ran around him, nipping at his ears, trying to get him to play. He just stood there. Then, when she calmed down, he tried to mount her. She quickly put him in his place. We took them for walks around the farm. He would walk behind us, never running, never sniffing anything, just plodding along with his tail between his legs, completely indifferent to the world, like a Stepford dog. About 3 weeks after his arrival, Pearl and Jerry and I were in the yard practicing recalls. That's when Jerry ran for the first time. It was quite a breakthrough, and the first of many. Gradually on our walks, his tail came up and he began to take more interest in everything around him. He learned to play with Pearl. Pearl doesn't play with toys, but we have plenty around, and Jerry began to play with them. Jerry was an adult when we got him, yet he still went through all the phases of puppy development. Now on our walks, he is usually romping ahead of us. This summer, Jerry developed a taste for cherry tomatoes growing in the garden. First thing in the morning, after a pee, he would head to the garden for the tomato plant. This fall, we all took a 2-week trip to Nova Scotia. When we got home, Jerry got out of the car and headed not for the house, but to the garden and straight to the cherry tomato plant. We gave him a few. My wife Bridget and I never discussed keeping Jerry. We just did, and we are so glad. He has been such a delight. He continues to learn, to discover new things, and always has a smile on his face. I guess after living in a puppy mill, everything else in life is good. It is amazing to see how this dog, who had for so many years known only hardship from humans and was denied love for so much of his life, now has so much love to give. Ralph the Miracle Dog. Ralph was about a year old when he was surrendered to us. His guardian could no longer support his special care needs. He had some paralysis in his rear legs. He was such a happy and affectionate puppy and was always ready to participate in all dog-centered activities. We immediately fell in love with him. He was very active and got around quite well, pulling himself with his front legs like a seal pup, but his tail and back legs were practically hairless from the friction. He could stand up on all 4 feet and could take a couple of steps, and then he would fall down and start the seal pup scoot. As with all dogs taken in, he went to the vet for a checkup. The vet said that he was healthy, but he would never walk. While he didn't say it, I could tell he was thinking that euthanizing him would be the best solution. We ordered a wheelchair. The first day in it, he was a bit nervous because it made a noise that he couldn't get away from. But by the second day, there was no stopping him. He could move his back legs with the chair supporting him, in a walking motion with his feet touching the ground. He had no problem keeping up with the other 2 Westies on walks around the farm. At physiotherapy, he went on a treadmill and a tank of water. Each week he would go longer and longer with less water supporting him. While in the house, he would walk more than he scooted, but his legs were still unsteady. After about 3 months, Ralph went to his forever home. He was adopted by a retired nurse who was confident she could deal with his handicap. The placement went well for about 2 months, and then she developed some medical problems and had to be hospitalized for an extended period, and he had to come back to us. He was now able to do up to 10 or more steps before collapsing, but rather than scooting, he would stand up and walk again. He had made significant progress. After about a month with us, another foster home became available. There were no stairs out to the fenced backyard and few stairs in the house. Someone was home pretty much all the time. It seemed perfect. Unfortunately, after 6 weeks in the foster home, he was returned to us. It has now been about a year since Ralph was surrendered to us. We are so pleased with the progress we have seen in him. The physiotherapy vet said she will buy Ralph's wheelchair back from us when he no longer needs it. We are optimistic this will be the outcome. He can now walk well on soft surfaces such as carpet and grass. He is still unsteady and will fall on his hind legs, but he gets right back up. We recently took him back to the same vet who saw him initially. When the vet saw him walking, he said, "That dog is a miracle." Ralph is now in permanent foster care with us. Adopting a special needs dog can be a big commitment and such a rewarding experience.